Just talk about a game in which you guys executed pretty well across the board and won a game that way, which seems to be a nice turnaround from what we've been seeing before.
Yeah, no, like we talked about it during that fifth or sixth inning time frame. Yeah, we've been in 6 or 8 games where we're in the tie game or within two there in that 6 or 7 inning range. And typically in years past we've done a really good job of like pulling away late. And so we talked about being a tougher, more fundamental team in the last 3 4 years and pulling away and executing. And we did that. That's what I was pleased about was we put pressure on them and they made some mistakes and we forced them to play the game in all terms and we were able to pull away. So you're right. We haven't been fundamental enough and we haven't been tough enough to push our way through in those games. And today we were. Obviously it always starts on the line. We get a good start. Coach Swanson does a really good job. Haas was really good. Seabold was good. I thought Bonner was really competitive, and then he missed a few pitches, but he did a good job and just keep adding more guys to the mix. But we took care of the ball when we had to have plays. We made plays defensively, and then offensively we did just enough. We had a chance there in the first to really kind of open it up. Double play ball, we weren't able to do it, but then we just kind of kept creeping along. And we've been good with 2 outs, another big 2-out inning for us. In the big bunt from Will just kind of really opened the game up for us. So yeah, we did a good job. Like we played Indiana baseball. We were tough, we were competitive, we executed late, we followed the plan, and we kept throwing punches on the mound and found our way through it. So yeah, I was pleased. It looked like an Indiana game. It looked like us playing the way that we typically do.
Yeah, I heard you talking to one of their coaches saying that their starter was really good. What did you guys see that was giving you guys problems?
Yeah, he left a lot of pitches. He walked some guys early, and then missed up and over the middle, and we were able to really capitalize. And then after that, he just really settled in. He was throwing, I would say, 4 pitches, a fastball to both sides of the plate counts as 2 pitches, and so he's throwing a fastball to both sides of the plate, and he's throwing a changeup and a little breaking ball, and that's really hard to stay on balance with that, especially when you're finishing in late, because that makes it really hard to be comfortable. And guys are going to have to do that to us because we lean out over the plate so much. And so you're going to see, you saw a little bit of Penn State, they're trying to work in, and then so they're going to try to work in for us, which is normal. We talked about that's how it goes. Fastball away, breaking ball, the fastball in, and we're going to have to we're hit by pitches, we're going to have to be selective and make sure we put the pitches to handle. And that's what he did. He really settled in and threw those 4 pitches and made it tough. It's just tough. And then we hit some animal, hit some hard line drives. I got guys. So there's no wind today, which is great. I'm glad to not have 40-mile-an-hour winds for once in the last 3 weeks. And so you hit balls on the button, I got guys, and that's the way it goes. And then he did a good job selling in. Guys pitched down up and finally got him out of there. But yeah, he was actually done a very good job.
Swanson's first appearance on the mound this year. Can you talk more about what you saw to him?
He was just really tough. It was fastball for a strike. The breaking ball was fine, but the changeup I thought was good. But he controlled the tempo. He catch the ball and get back in there. I think sometimes he worked a little bit too quick and left a couple up and on the side. But I'll take that. You could just see his presence, his mound presence. He wanted to be in the fight. He was aggressive. He had fastball control for the most part, and got to both sides of the plate like the guy did. Now, we'd like to work him up and up to where he can now extend out. But the first time to go 3 innings, we haven't done a great job of managing those middle innings, and that's ultimately my fault of overextending somebody to where now, he hasn't been in that 50, 60, 70 pitch threshold in a long time. He runs back out in the 4th, and he runs out of gas, and he's rolling a good start. And so now we got to build him back up to where he can extend beyond the 3rd. But it was really competitive and tough. His fastball for a strike, and his stuff was pretty good. Looked like he was 90-92, which is good to see from him. And then that makes the changeup, an appealing pitch. It really opens that up the outside half of the plate. He did a really good job for us.
New role for Seabold today. Can you kind of talk about what went into that decision?
Yeah, he didn't get to his pitch count last week, and so 2 years ago we won a bunch of games by just kind of chopping games up. And if you're not going to go 5 or 6 as a starter next, we can live with that. But we got to find a way. We got to cover those innings somewhere or the other until some of those guys get back. And so we kind of talked about it going into the week. He's a guy. Okay, we need 2 innings here. I know it's only 2 in the 3rd, but we got a 2-inning window here. Can he give us 2? And he was really good in that role. So you got to evaluate your guy and put him in a position to be successful. He's got good enough stuff He needs to be better in those 0-2 counts. He gets ahead. That's been something for him this year. That's kind of been a little bit of a thing. Is he gets ahead. He's in an 0-2 count, 1-2 count, and we go to throw a chase pitch and we leave it up and over the middle and he gets hit. So he's got to make an adjustment there to be better. But I'd rather him throw too many strikes than not enough. But yeah, just kind of finding a way. Can he give us that 5 or 6 innings a week, maybe in a different look, maybe by chopping it up a little bit. And then when you don't have a scouting report on a guy, that hey, this guy's starting, you got 3 days to prepare for him. It just kind of gives you a little bit more length when the whole team's not focused on you completely. He did a really good job in that role today. And kudos to him for taking the ball and saying, like, what's the team need me to do? I'm going to go out there and compete, and he did a good job.
Coach, you have Ohio State coming up this weekend. We got a few days before you see them. What's kind of practice look like for your team?
Yeah, I told the guys, the next 2 days are not throwaway days for us. We've been on the road for a month. We need to practice. We need to spend time with the hitters in the cages. We need to get some more of those, some of those guys that aren't in the pitching rotation right now. We need to get those guys some live at bats. We need to get in there and work. It needs to be a really good couple of work days. We need to get back in the weight room. We've had kind of the sick bug everyone's got, so everyone's down weight. We just got to get a couple of really good work days for us. So, we'll be back and we'll be in small groups offensively. We'll be going back over our first and thirds and bunties. We'll run cuts and relays and pop fly priorities. Just a couple of really good practice days, and work really hard at it to kind of get our feet back underneath us going into the weekend.
Coach, I'm curious. You talk about playing a summer sport in the winter. You guys had to alter the schedule, spend a lot of time away from home. How do you think that has impacted you during games the first month of the season?
Yeah, it is. It's a challenge for everybody. It's a challenge for everybody, and it's not. I'm not making any excuses for us more than somebody else. But yeah, it impacts you when you're guys getting banged up and dinged up, and the travel is hard, and guys get sick, and it's just hard. So you got to be mentally tough. But what I'm excited about now is we get a week here where we're at home, we can practice. Should be decent weather here, it's warm, so we can have some really good work days for us. But yeah, it's always the first month is always a challenge. And the reality is we haven't won as many games as we would like to win, and we're used to winning. But we've been in competitive games in every game for the most part. So, we're in the position to win games consistently. We've just got to be we can't be the prospect team. We got to be the tough team. We got to be the ball player team. We got to be the fundamental team. And so if we'll do that, then our talent will shine through. And so you're banged up, fine. Like, it's okay. There's still a place and an avenue for you to compete and to have success. And it's going to be by throwing strikes and taking care of the ball and driving runners in with less than 2 outs and having really good 2-strike at bats. It's all the basic fundamental things. If you'll do that and you'll be tough like that and compete, then your ability shows. And we are talented enough to win. We just got to be tough enough to put ourselves in a position to capitalize late. We haven't done a good enough job of that. And we've done it a couple times, right? Today is one of those times. Northwestern's one of those times. Done it a couple times. But we've got to do that every day. We've got to show up every day. We've gotten enough pitching and enough offense to keep us in games. Now we need to be excellent and really and drive that home and finish. But yeah, travel's always hard. Guys getting sick, guys getting hurt. The good thing is the guys that are banged up are going to be back. They're going to be back. We're going to get reinforcements on the mound. Those guys, hopefully when they're back, they're healthy, we get the good stuff. And in the interim, in the meantime, we've gotten a bunch of opportunities and a bunch of innings, for guys that maybe wouldn't have otherwise. And those guys develop and those guys grow up. Swanee is a perfect example of that today. And now we add everybody back to the fold and we catch our breath here and we go make a run.
All right. Anything else for Coach?
I got one. Coach, that Wilmore showing bunt bases loaded 2 outs, is that small ball something you've been working on in practice lately, or where does that kind of come from?
No, honestly, it's been in recruiting the last couple of years. And those things take time to get players into the program that you feel like can play in that style. If you look at it, we've typically played well in the Big Ten tournament, but we haven't played well enough to win in a big field, in a big setting. And sometimes, we were at Purdue last year and we won the series, but it was a battle. This big field, the wind's blowing in, they're running big shifts. We've got to be able to bump. We've got to be able to safety. We've got to be able to hit the ball low in the line and play a more college-y brand of baseball when the situation calls for it. And so we really tried probably 2 years ago to shift a little bit in recruiting to make sure we're good defensively, we're athletic enough defensively, that offensively we have the style that will show up every day. We have guys that get the ball to the ballpark, We also have to have guys that can put pressure and go first to third and can bunt and run and hit and run a little bit. And so we have tried to do that more so this year, and it's given us opportunities. We've scored more runs because of it. Will's a guy, but Cole Decker's a freshman who's going to be really good at that. Into the future for us, he's going to be a really good player at that. Cooper and some of those young guys have some more small ball tendencies to them, and they're really, really good defenders. And so we need to be able to do all of those things. You can't just come up and be a one-trick pony offensively, because they're going to put 3 guys on the wall and play big shifts, and the wind's blowing in, and you're not always going to hit 5 homers and 7 doubles and score 12 runs the old-fashioned way. You're going to have to manufacture a little bit. So it has been something that we've tried to do in recruiting the last couple of years, and it's something that we'll do moving forward. And then we've practiced it a ton. We've done a lot of those things. We've tried to really shore up I think we have more walks than strikeouts, so we're 1-to-1 essentially as an offense, and then our hit by pitches have us way over free bases to strikeouts. Well, Carl remembers several years ago when our strikeouts were abhorrent, right? And we've tried really hard to shift our focus on that offensively and to be a more well-rounded team. And that's just the evolution of a program into building a consistent, a Power 4 college baseball team that can go into any environment and win. And we have to force the issue in that way. And so when that situation came up, guy comes out of the pen, just walked up to him and I said, hey, if that third baseman stays over, he's down, but he's over, the whole third base line is wide open. You got a reliever coming in, he's never going to expect it. If you get it down, it's for sure 1 run. If he throws it away, we got a chance to open this thing up. And kudos to Will for being the guy that goes up and just sits on it and lays it down. And it's a big game-changing play, and we have to be more diverse in the way that we play offense.